Good evening and welcome to Monday Night Wellness Stories. I'm Sherry Danzig, and tonight we're going to be featuring a couple of stories, as we do every Monday night, that are great experiences that people have had using our phenomenal products. That the company is Nikken, and the company is focused on bringing us natural, a natural environment to help us thrive. It's like creating a greenhouse effect for our home environment. And the bodies are the miracle. The bodies are amazing, and when we give it the body what it needs, and these technologies are based on science and they are inspired by Mother Nature. And so that combination is, well, it works miracles oftentimes. So Barbara, you're going to share a story about your recovery from a pretty major surgery.
Yes, thank you, Sherry. I'm Barb Richmond from Ontario, Canada. And on May 30th, I had a full hip transplant. Now, I didn't know what to expect as far as discomfort was concerned post-surgery. But as soon as I awakened in the day surgery area, I immediately started sucking on my pal here, my Mag water bottle. I was up walking in the day surgery area, back and forth to the washroom when required. And at 4:30, I was told that I could get dressed and that my ride would be downstairs at 5 p.m. I went downstairs. My son handed me this Ziploc bag with all my goodies. I put my power band necklaces on and my gold necklace. I put my power band wristbands on. I put the flex in my back. I took my mini comforter and put it over the incision area. And of course, I had the insoles in my shoes. An hour and a half later, we arrived home. I immediately got into my night attire and climbed into my sleep system. I took small bags of frozen veggies and put them inside the mini comforter and set it directly on the incision. Now, I had one great big honking bandage on there, and this sat right on top of it. And it just kept the intense cold from being too intense initially. But it did help with any swelling of the area. I surprisingly slept extremely well that night. Now, the one challenge I did have, I don't take pharmaceuticals. My body's not used to pharmaceuticals. My body did not like the medications that were pumped into me during surgery. So my tummy rebelled for about 48 hours. However, it didn't slow me down. It didn't stop me. I was out walking on the sidewalk the following day, twice that day, up and back, up and back. When I went out the second time, I added another length to it. And it would be, in American terms, probably in the neighborhood of 300 feet each way. My first walk, I was hanging on to my walker, leaning over it. By the time I got to the end of it, the first time, I'm standing upright and remained upright the rest of the times. My son was right by my side to make sure that I didn't lose my balance or anything. And I did that every day, each day, increasing how many times I did it and how long I did it. So it went from 15 minutes the first day up to 30 minutes every day. By day 6, I was at my first physio appointment, and he gave me 4 exercises I was to do. Now, the one is lying flat on your bed. You have to raise your leg off the bed, and you have to hold it in the air for a count of at least 3 seconds. Well, I was having trouble doing it with either leg. However, I was to increase how far I was lifting it off the bed, and I was to increase the duration of holding it in the air. When I went back a week later for my second appointment, he asked me how it went. And I said, well, in all honesty, when I'm lying flat on my back in bed, I can't see how high I'm lifting my leg. I know I'm lifting it, but I can't tell how high. And I said, how high did I lift it last week? And he said, about 3 inches. So he said, hop up, let's have a look and see what progress you've made. He said, how long were you holding it? I said, well, I've held it for about 10, 15 seconds, the last couple of days. So he said, all right, let's see. I lifted my leg and all I heard was, oh my gosh. And I said, is that a good gosh or a bad gosh? He said, you're 12 inches off the bed.
Wow.
He said, that's amazing, Barb. So he gave me some more exercises to do. Now, there were days I didn't feel like it, but I did it anyways, because I knew that if I wanted the rewards at the end, it was worth it. Now, I was having no discomfort whatsoever from my hip. I only twice did I take 1 Tylenol in my recovery. 1 single Tylenol.
Wow.
They offered me opioids, and I said, you can keep the prescription. I won't fill it. I won't use it. I don't want it. So 2 Tylenol in the first week. Now, I made a mistake. I was discharged from physio this past week, and it's because my good side has a challenge in my buttock. I got overzealous with my exercises. I was bound, bent, determined I was going to return to normal faster. But it actually set me back because if I was told to increase my reps, I wouldn't just increase them by a couple each time. I would increase them by many each time. When I went to get my staples out, the surgeon was blown away. In fact, the skin had started growing over the staples. And he said, you could say that we're sort of overdue in removing these. He said, you've healed extremely well. First shower, you're directed that you have to keep your incision perfectly dry. You have to protect it. Under no circumstances can you get it wet. And after 18 and a half days with no shower and just dry shampoo, sponge baths, I mean, they're better than nothing, but they just don't cut it.
Yeah.
He said to me, however you like to shower, do it, enjoy it, no restrictions. Because there was nothing showing from the incision. In fact, it has faded so much, it's hard to even see now. I credit that success totally to the fact that as soon as I was awake, I started on the pie water, which started circulating through my system. I immediately got our nature's technology on my body. Then I climbed into the sleep system, and I stayed in that sleep system when I wasn't walking or going to the washroom. So I benefited from the fact that the technologies enabled my body to start finding its balance again and healing itself. I'd have no qualms about if I ever needed the other hip done. I'd have no qualms about going ahead because I know the secret sauce. I know what I must do and what I must not do. And you just have to cocoon yourself in the technology. So if you know anybody that's going to be having major surgery of any kind, there's a floor plan that you're welcome to use. When I was in nursing, a hip replacement, they would be in hospital anywhere from 10 days to 2 weeks. And they weren't even up walking for the first 3-4 days at all, if they were walking by the time they left hospital.
Yeah.
So the times
they've definitely
have
changed that. They've definitely changed that. I know.
Yeah, in and out the same day.
Yeah.
The same
Yeah.
day.
No,
And
that's
other than
awesome.
the intense nausea, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, you spoke exactly what I was saying in introducing this, is that this is about creating an environment. You are living in that environment that was about these natural energies that you could use
Head
and
to
live with
toe.
them head to toe. So I think this was a fabulous story, and we're gonna let this be the story for tonight. But I have one question I want to close with. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
75.
75.
And on no prescription drugs.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that's because of following Nikken's plan of feeding my body with the organic nutritionals and utilizing the energy technologies.
Fantastic.
I'm an active 75, very active.
Yeah, yeah. Good for you. Thank you for sharing, Barb. That's an incredible story.
Mhm.
All right, you all, that's a wrap for tonight. Thank you all for being on and for listening. And come join us the next week. You'll hear some more fabulous stories. Good night,
Okay.
everyone.
Good night.
Thanks, Sherry.
It was great. Thank you.